Now to fireworks of a different kind. It is the only event of its type in Australia, and for the next fortnight the OzAsia Festival will serve up a feast of Asian music, theatre, comedy and visual art. In its 5 years, the event has gone from strength to strength and is also generating some positive reaction from our nearest trading partners. But as Paul Clarick reports, not all of the participants come from abroad, and in some cases locals are even helping to preserve endangered traditions.
Well, I like the texture of the silk and the shine, and if you do a good job, it's very rewarding.
I love the colours, I love the shine of light on the silk, I love the sound of the needle and the thread coming through. I just like it all. I love the precision. I love it.
It's all hand done, so it's a human doing this, so it's just special.
Nui do is made up of two words, nui and do. Nui is embroidery, and do is the Japanese spiritual way. And through the practice of that, we will reach a spiritual stage, which does something for us inside.
It's a tradition that's laced with irony. As Nuido is finding a home in Australia, its future in Japan is becoming less certain.
And it is being lost, unfortunately, because the artisans in Japan are getting older, and also the embroidery is expensive.
Unlike other forms of embroidery, Nuido is rigidly controlled by a strict set of rules, phases and techniques. Elizabeth Steinmetz has been learning Nuido for 15 years, which has included several trips to Japan. She's about to graduate in the 10th and final phase of the art, incorporating all 46 techniques.
So in this respect, at least, we can do smaller pieces and they can decorate walls being framed, and the art can continue down the line and hopefully not die out.
Margaret Lee is responsible for almost single-handedly giving Nuido its Australian lifeline. Based in Adelaide, she's an accredited and registered instructor who tutors people from around Australia. The world of Nuido is now on display as part of the OzAsia Festival, and works from these Australian embroiderers are being shown alongside masterpieces specially brought from Japan. Those who do Nuido do so for various reasons. There's the discipline.
You don't create things with this as you may do with quilting or with freehand embroidery. The techniques are the techniques, and they're the ones you have to stick to. Otherwise, if you try and change it and do something creative with it, it doesn't give it the traditional look.
There's personal transformation.
Makes me feel good. Really good.
It takes me away from the busyness of life sometimes, and at the same time, it has very much, for me, it has taught me patience, which is not something that I have. But through the practice of Nuido, it has calmed me down and transported me to a different world.
And there's also cultural understanding.
All the elements mean something, and you see what a cultured society they are, which is more than what you sort of probably would have thought 50 years ago. So you begin to realise that they're just like us.
That realisation is a key part of the OzAsia Festival, and its focus on community involvement also makes it different from other festivals.
It's crucial for this festival because without our local community supporting this and being involved, we wouldn't have a festival.
Now in its 5th year, it's a festival like no other in Australia, and it's quietly gaining South Australia a reputation among our nearest neighbours.
On a business and political level, this festival is becoming known, so I think people can actually see the benefits of what we're trying to achieve here, and the support that we're giving for that, engagement and collaborations.
We'll just look very carefully at the lines for the yin-yang.
Yeah.
At a warehouse in Bowden, work is gathering pace for the annual Moon Lantern Festival on Monday week. This year's parade will feature some innovations. These drums will become floating lanterns on Torrens Lake. On one level, the Moon Lantern Festival makes people with Asian backgrounds, including international students, feel at home.
It's a very important date in the calendar for a number of cultures and communities that are represented in the cross-section of people living in Adelaide and South Australia. It's the 15th day of the 8th lunar month, so it's when the big, beautiful full moon is in the sky.
Last year, more than 18,000 people attended the Moon Lantern Festival. This year, students from Para Vista Primary School will again be taking part.
Last year at the Moon Lantern Festival, we walked around. It was a bit like a parade, and
we had a big lantern and we all made our own small ones, and the big lantern represented our school.
And there were lots of people watching us walk by.
And you lay it on top of your lantern. A big impact on the children is feeling like they're part of a much wider Adelaide community. A lot of times their school, their home, their suburb is their world. And for this to be able to take their lanterns to town and have tens of thousands of people celebrating with them, and for them not just to be there watching but core creators of this event, is a really magical experience for them.
I came through a very monocultural schooling environment in the late 60s, 70s. So I think it was unusual for me as a child to interact with another cultural group. It's nothing unusual. It's how they operate. It's who they live with. It's who their next door neighbours are. So they don't see it as being peculiar or unusual or different. And I think they come to it with a very different lens to us.
Many languages, many races. Many languages, many races, but one people.
Well, it is fun and you get to learn new things like how to do it and stuff.
I hope I could do it again next year as well.
Some of them have like a moral, and I like the lessons they teach, and they're interesting because they teach lessons that you can learn in life to become a better person.
Paul Clarick there, and the beautiful pictures in that story were shot by Chris Lockyer and edited by Simon Christie.